Sanaullah and other issued, it's a matter of time we are going to lose Balochistan, because this brass was formed with an attempt or with the mindset that we are going to do big attacks. We are going to really strategize. We are not going to do random attacks. We are going to have divide and conquer, divide, conquer, and
NewsX hai.
what was the attack? What was the agenda of brass? That is how it was sent. And and on that, Pakistani army, and they were rattled. Then after that, there was an attack in Bannu. I think 2-3 days back, there was an attack in Bannu because that was in retaliation to what they did at Turkam border. After the Bannu attack, which Pakistan says only 7-8 people got killed, but more than 100 of their army personnel got killed there. And there's one interesting statistics, Uday. From 1st of January to 28th of March, 600 Pakistani army personnel have been slaughtered. 144 attacks on army, 268 on police and ISI put together, 600 people dead. You do a mathematics, average 12 persons killed per day every day. That is what is happening there. Asim Munir tried to show a brave face in Bannu when everything was over, when everything he tried to show up, oh, it's all hanky-dory, and they tried to ignore this brass. Now, brass has stuck and has done something which is unbelievable. They are holding around, I think they are holding around 400, 200, 400 people hostages. I was talking to just Mirza Saab before the show, and according to his sources, there are more than 18 people have been killed. They are saying that there are only 6 or 8, 18 have been killed, as Mr. Mirza on the show here. And the problem here is that it's a big hostage crisis. Balochistan and KPK are hanging by the threads. After this attack, Asim Munir is not even in a position to negotiate. They are not even in a position to do a military attack. And there is one Baloch leader called Mr. Bashir Zeb. He was in Iran a couple of days back. I'm telling on a national TV, let ISI go and find what was he doing in Iran. There's an interesting angle to it. But the challenge here is that this is the biggest ever attack happened. Before that, there was one more attack, if you remember, around a year back. It happened in Quetta, wherein 72 people who were freshly graduates or were graduating for the police army academy, were eliminated. In this train also, it is not normal people. It is Pakistan military, air force, police, and all those people who are in this train. It is not people. Balochis do not attack civilians. They don't attack unarmed people. They are different from the TTP. TTP might do it. Balochis never do it. So it's a military style attack on Pakistan army, where they have their 450 men or 400 plus men as hostages. They have lost around 18 to 20 men as we talk right now. And Asim Munir and his army is all helpless. I want to ask one question. When was this meeting was happening? When brass announced its agendas 3 days back, ISI could not know a head and tail of brass, could not track even 1% of brass. Just after 3 to 4 days after formation of brass, this is the biggest attack how brass has shaped up. Now what Maulana Dizil was saying and what Sanaullah was saying, it looks to be true. It's a matter of time. Pakistan is going to lose Balochistan. KPK is hanging by threads. Only if you go by, if on papers, they hold 5% of KPK. They have lost 75% of Balochistan. After this, it's all gone. And with it, CPEC, OBR, Gwadar airport, Gwadar port, and incidentally, all is gone. China's dreams are gone. And let me tell you, Gwadar airport and port is the lowest utilized airport in the whole world. And it does not have power from the Pakistan national grid. The power comes from solar panels in Iran. It's a matter of time this Gwadar is over because the power is coming from Iran. And Americans won't let Iran send power there. It's a matter of time, Friday, it's we're happening, what is happening. They were trying to hurt us with 1,000 cuts. Now they have to go and look at their backyard and control their backyard. Now it's the biggest ever, insult on their injury after 93,000 wala surrender. Today you have Pakistan ke andar, a full train of Pakistani army is held by Balochis, and mighty Pakistan with the Islamic bomb is so helpless, so relentless, cannot even move a brick. That is the reality of the life, and Brass and Balochis warned them of that. And I dare China now, after these incidents, how many Chinese will go to Balochistan and how many Chinese will continue to siphon out resources from Balochistan, because Majid Brigade has a dedicated brigade which only hunts Chinese and Chinese interests. This is the sum of the whole story, Uday. That's how it looks like.
Okay, let me in fact quickly take that to Surinder Singh Lali, international affairs expert as well. Surinder Singh Lali, what do you make of the evolving situation on ground? We still don't know how many casualties on board. The train, of course, continues stranded at a railway station, reportedly soon after this tunnel where the firing took place, with the BLA now, of course, claiming responsibility for this attack.
Uday, I guess God does forgive, but karma doesn't. So I think the chickens are coming home to the roost, because Pakistan is already a failed state. It should have fallen apart long ago. It's the army that is forcefully keeping it, in whatever it is together. And it's the Western economies who've been using this country for rent and army. Udit, the way the Punjabi high-headed journals and the corps commanders have been mistreating people from Balochistan, the way the youth has been disappearing, I mean, not in just in Pakistan, but even in Canada, the way, the country is virtually being leased out to China with absolutely, no dividends coming to the local people. So this is bound to happen. And my fear is even a step further from what I think or even other panelists are going to say, that Pakistan falling apart is only a matter of time. But how would we deal with such a big humanitarian crisis with 25 crore people running helter-skelter with a nuclear bomb on them? I mean, the Islamic Pashtun insurgency, the Taliban, the Baloch Army, and in the press release, is the Majid Brigade, the STOS, the Fateh Squad, and the BLA. And the hostages, I guess, they've let the women and the children go, as Mr. P rightly said. They have the people from the Frontier Corps, the Pakistani Army, the Anti-Terror Force, the ISI. So Pakistan has become one big laughing stock where the diplomats are getting deported and the prime ministers are subjected to, search at the sitting prime minister when he goes to America. So my only fear is that it's only a matter of time. The whole thing's going to fall apart. And for how long? For how long can these high-headed Punjabis who haven't learned their lessons from Bangladesh are going to try and, suppress this very rightful moment, which ought to come to a logical conclusion, and it should be sooner than before.
All right, more breaking news meanwhile coming in. Pakistan government's first statement has come out on the attack. Balochistan government is to take emergency measures. Pak government says over 500 passengers are on board. Pak government also says the train was fired at between Pero Kunri, Gadalar. The train is stuck in the tunnel surrounded by mountains. So first big statement, of course, coming in from the Pakistan government, of course, on this attack. All right. Well, these are, of course, the big developments we are tracking for you. The first big statement by, of course, Pakistan being issued on this attack. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, is with us live. Gautam Mukherjee, what do you make of this first statement by the Pakistani government, obviously authorizing now the Balochistan government to take emergency measures, given the numbers of people on board?
Well, judging from the past today, when the Pakistan Army has shown scant regard for its own personnel who are killed on the LOC and so on, I would caution the Balochis to make sure they're not bombed from the air with missiles and other such objects. They won't mind knocking out the entire train, inclusive of the Balochis and their own army and the civilians. So they need to take evasive measures. I'm nobody to spell it out, but common sense tells me if they remove themselves and their hostages from the train and hide out close by. On the other hand, if they're literally in the tunnel, if the Pakis are to be believed, then bombing it will not really help as long as they can make sure that they have escape routes from the tunnel itself, because bombing will at best collapse the tunnel, but not really hit the train directly. And this is a possibility. As for the broader implications, this is a major escalation. As Sumit Peer has pointed out, they have come together. And when they come together, they have become much more strategic. And from the Indian point of view, this is excellent news. And let us hope that the Balochis are able to achieve independence as soon as possible.
All right. Amjad Ayub Mirza, in fact, is also joining us now live, POK activist. Amjad Ayub Mirza, what is your information about this attack and what the latest situation on ground is? How is the situation now going to be tackled by the Pakistani establishment, who are obviously in a flux of what to do?
Thank you very much for having me. Actually, it's a very exciting day. After the good news of India winning the trophy, this is the second mega big news that has come. And there is every reason to celebrate this. let me inform you that I've just received information that the first attack by Pakistan Army to try to,
Amjad Mirza, I'll just, of course, caution you, an attack or any lives lost should not obviously be a celebration. But yes, please go ahead and make your comment.
yeah, we are not celebrating the lives lost. We are celebrating the fact that it has been a successful operation by the BLA and Majid Brigade. And as Lali ji has mentioned, all of the organizations that have took place in this, participated in this. The information is that Pakistan Army's first attempt to the rescue so-called operation has been repelled. Pakistan Army has been forced to retreat. They were bringing forces in ambulances and they're disguised as ambulances are going to help passengers if someone is ill or injured. But they quickly realized that these ambulances were full of Pakistani soldiers, so they were attacked. So far, I've been told that 18 Pakistan Army personnel have been killed, and these Pakistan Army personnel were traveling for their Eid holiday, and they were on holiday with families. So the families have been spared, the children and the women have been spared, but now they are identifying people from active duty army personnel, police, ISI, and other military and civil organizations, and it's conducted by Majid Brigade, Fateh Squad, Zirab unit of BLA. What I've been saying for the past 2 weeks now is that there is a Balochistan freedom movement has come to a stage where there is dual power in Balochistan. And now it seems that this dual power is tilting in favor of Balochistan freedom fighters. The other day, Balochistan Assembly member Mir Jaffar Zahri, on the floor of the House, he said that Pakistan has lost the war in Balochistan. He said he cannot travel. He was making an appeal to Bashir Zeb Baloch, who is the commander of BLA, that please do not do anything to me, and if you have to do, just shoot me. Don't torture me. This is the level of fear among elected members of parliament who come from Balochistan. And he said that there is no writ of Pakistan in Balochistan. The writ is of Bashir Zeb Baloch and Dr. Allah Nazar Baloch. So at the moment, if we look at it, this incident where 182 Pakistan government officials, including army and police and all that, ISI, have been taken hostage. This speaks volumes in the sense about the BLA's capabilities. It's a very fine army. They are very well trained. They are educated. And talking about escape routes, like Gautamji was mentioning, the first thing they do is they make sure that they have more than one escape routes. So I'm sure that the escape route has been taken care of, and Pakistan is on the edge of collapse. Still, Pakistan is in denial. वो आके कह रहे नहीं नहीं फौजी नहीं थे, सिविलियन थे, छुट्टी पे जा रहे थे, civilian को मार दिया. BLA, like Sumit Bhai has very clearly and categorically mentioned, BLA never targets civilians. That is not that their ethic code of their army is do not target civilians, do not harm unarmed people. So they never do bomb blasts in public places. They never do bomb blasts in mosques. They never kill innocent civilians. ये जो कहते हैं ना 6 पंजाबी मार दिए, 8 पंजाबी मार दिए, they are not civilians. They identify them. 5 days ago, they held a check post for 5 hours on a main highway in Balochistan, and the BLA checked everybody's ID cards, and they let everyone go who were from Punjab or KPK, because they said that they could not identify any connection of these people with the establishment, whether it's military, police, ISI, or whatever. So they let them go. But Pakistan obviously wants to propagate this idea as if they are illiterate people, raw funded, this funded, that funded. But if it is raw funded, then my salute to raw as well, because they have done a pretty good
Okay,
job.
more breaking news coming in. More breaking news coming in. Stay with us.
Please.
Pakistan Railways in denial over the hijack. Pakistan Railways has claimed only driver has been injured. Pakistan media says driver sustained severe injuries. Pak Railways says passengers will be fully refunded. Major Shashi Asthana is with us live. Major Shashi Asthana, this is a bizarre statement by the Pakistan Railways, a bit contradictory, of course, to what the government has said. They are claiming only the driver has sustained injuries so far, and they've not really commented more on the attack, saying passengers will be fully refunded. I mean, why would the passengers want a refund? They would want their lives to be saved first.
As far as the railway's statement is concerned, I think we can take it with a pinch of salt, for the simple reason because they are the affected party in a manner that their rail has been hijacked. So that's one part of it. Now, going by whatever messages and whatever has been spoken so far, and let me tell you that this is a very well planned operation, and in this operation, it requires a fair amount of intelligence planning as well as a military planning. I'm sure they must have gathered this information over a period, and that's how such a huge hijacking can take place. Also, they would have worked out all other arrangements, as was mentioned, whether it is how they are going to negotiate, how they are going to carry out subsequent operations. That's one. Secondly, when it is about the civilian casualties, or they causing civilian casualties, let me tell you that the militant groups are very cautious that if they have to survive and succeed, they have to have people on their side. People are the center of gravity in the counter-insurgency operation as well as insurgency operation. So they will not like to unnecessarily harm the innocent people. Now, why they are attacking Pakistan Army is, I think, very well known. But let me reiterate to say that there has been a fair amount of atrocities caused by Pakistan Army. They have used all elements of power, including air, artillery, etc., which we never use. In fact, if you recall, during our Kashmir operations, a lot of people used to tell us that you do a lot of welfare, or you don't use full force, you don't use artillery, etc. But then the fact is that you can't lose people and think that you can win a counter-insurgency war. Pakistan Army has violated this basic principle again and again, and that is why the people are angry with them and people are siding with the insurgent groups. Now, there is no doubt the cause is genuine. Balochis have been, they have faced atrocities, they have faced, they have all the resources, but then all the resources are being used by Punjabis. The Chinese are exploiting their resources, and so are Punjabis. So they know that this is not their end of fight, and therefore they need freedom from this regime. They are also, the Balochis are also present in Iran as well as in Afghanistan. And the connections with the TTP, that also makes them stronger, because KP, the residents of KP also feel, because of this Durand line and Pashtuns being divided both sides, there are grudges there as well. So grudges of this entire belt, that is KP and Balochistan combined, has given a birth to very potent militant organizations now, and these organizations are actually taking revenge of the atrocities which have been caused specifically by the Pakistan Army. And that's why all their plannings as well as actions. Also, they have also realized very recently that if you kill a couple of Pakistanis, it doesn't make that much of a difference as if you kill 2-3 Chinese. And that's why last 1 or 1.5 years, you would have seen 23 Chinese killed, because that shakes up their hierarchy, that shakes up their military, because one call from China to Pakistan military or Pakistani chief, that causes shivers there. So they find that if they get an opportunity, and they will continue to do so, if they get an opportunity, they will prefer killing a Chinese than a Pakistanis, and that's very much, and that is where Chinese have also stopped funding beyond a point. The CPEC, which people call as economic corridor, I call it China-Pakistan exploitation corridor. And in that corridor, they were earlier planned, they had planned for 60 billion. Now, after releasing whatever they needed for the energy, after that they are not releasing much of money because they feel that it is a grave risk. And they are looking at another option in Afghanistan now, that if we can get the connectivity to Gulf via Afghanistan. And that's why you would have seen Chinese Afghanis and Chinese Taliban Balochistan coming up very well. So this is a troubled area. This will remain a troubled state. And the fight for freedom seems to be quite...
We're getting a statement as well from the Pakistan Interior Minister. He's issued his first statement on this incident. Mohsin Naqvi has condemned the Balochistan hijack. Naqvi has said the government won't make any concessions, won't spare beasts firing on passengers. Let me bring in Sumit Peer for more on this story. Sumit, this is a big statement from the Internal Minister of Pakistan. He has said they will not make any concessions in the negotiations now. They will not spare beasts who fired on passengers.
Uday, there are 2 or 3 things which are very important to know. First of all, there's a person called Samad Shamsudani. Who is Samad Shamsudani? Samad Shamsudani was the head of death squad of Pakistan in Balochistan. It's an informal organization which Pakistan Army runs, and this man heads it. His job was to kill, abduct, torture and bury the bodies. So 2 days back, Baloches eliminated him, right? There's one more person called Mufti Shamir. Who is Mufti Shamir? Mufti Shamir is the person who helped to kidnap Kuldeep, Mr. Jadhav from Iran and brought him to ISI and Pakistan Army and portrayed him as a raw spy and all. He was the man behind all this. So unidentified gunman eliminated him 2-3 days ago. Ab kaise hua mujhe nahi pata. And there is one more organization which has come up, that is called Baloch Raji Ajol Sanghar, or what we call as BRAS. This is where all these organizations have got together. They issued a warning. Rana Sanaullah warned them. Fazlur Rahman warned them, Maulana Dizil, and everybody has been warning them, you are going to lose Balochistan, because when BRAS was formed, they issued a formal press release, which you can check 3 days back, wherein they said we are going to increase the quantum of attacks, and it's 100% going to be a military-style attack. Balochis are different from Taliban. Balochis don't say Allahu Akbar and press the button. They are very military-style combat. They plan their attacks. They organize their attacks. They don't attack unarmed. They don't kill women and children. They are not killing civilians and all. This attack is targeted on the establishment of Pakistan. And what these people are saying, they are rattled. They don't know what to do. This is not their area. And if you look at KPK and Balochistan, there are only 2-3 camps where they are still holding by thin threads. And a Pakistani army today brags that they can walk into Balochistan and free hostages. That will be all crap. They can use some air power, which they can. Of course, they can use that. But minus that, they have nothing left. And who knows, Balochis might have a surprise, because some of the sources told me they have got some few now new smart weapons. So if Pakistan army tries to be very handy with them, we don't know what are these new smart weapons that Balochis have and who gave them. I have no idea, but they are believed to have some smart weapons. So it is a grave insult. Pakistanis are only sulking. I was looking at what Railway said. Railway is atrocious. They are saying, "Hum ticket ka paisa wapas denge." Your whole train has disappeared. People are disappeared. You have the biggest hostage crisis in your history. You are saying ki theek hai, ticket ka paisa wapas denge. I mean, Pakistan is literally caught with their pants down. And where is the mighty ISI? Mighty ISI didn't know about this. They didn't know about this BRAS. Could they track even one leader? And I told you again, what was Bashir Zaib doing in Iran? If I know he was in Iran, ISI should have known better than me. So these are the things they have literally given up, Uday. It's a matter of time when Balochis can declare independence. And let me tell you another thing. With the fiasco going in Iran, Americans will support Balochis tooth and nail. Nobody is going to utter a word, because they don't want this link between Iran and Pakistan to be active via Balochistan. So when push comes to shove, they will have to settle Iran. So they want to control Balochistan. And Balochistan has 3 important things. Rikodek mines, world's 2nd highest gold and copper reserves. Gwadar port, Gwadar airport.
Okay.
42% of the area, and
yes,
it has all the things you need.
Right. Right. We'll continue tracking the story. It's a developing situation, of course, in Pakistan. For the time being, my thanks to our guests for joining us. Taking a short break on that note.
राजस्थान के जन जन और कण कण को समर्पित राज्य बजट 2025-26 जो है प्रदेश का पहला ग्रीन बजट। प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के विजन और भजनलाल सरकार के संकल्प को साकार करने वाला यह बजट युवा, महिला, मजदूर और किसान का करेगा उत्थान और प्रदान करेगा देश प्रदेश के विकास को गति। प्रदेश की इकोनॉमी को भजनलाल सरकार $350 बिलियन इकोनॉमी में बदलने के लिए है कटिबद्ध। 8 करोड़ राजस्थानियों की आकांक्षाओं को पूरा करने की दिशा में यह बजट आगामी 1 वर्ष में सुनिश्चित करेगा 1.25 लाख सरकारी पदों पर भर्तियां और निजी क्षेत्र में 1.5 लाख रोजगार। प्रधानमंत्री किसान सम्मान निधि अब होगी प्रतिवर्ष 9,000 रुपए। लखपति दीदी की श्रेणी में लाई जाएंगी और 20 लाख महिलाएं। बुजुर्गों, महिलाओं और दिव्यांगों की पेंशन बढ़कर होगी 1,250 रुपए प्रति माह। राजस्थान बजट 2025